A proposal to change the structure of Brooklyn Center's city government and give the mayor more power is now in the hands of the city council, at least for now. As Delane Cleveland explains, the city's charter commission voted to move the proposal along to the city council this week after a citizens group got the courts involved.
We'll start with a roll call.
Tuesday night at Brooklyn Center City Hall.
Seems kind of irregular.
Something that doesn't usually happen at a charter commission meeting. A full house.
Usually our meetings have nobody attending except for us.
At issue is a petition signed by more than 1,100 Brooklyn Center residents aimed at changing the city's power structure and creating a strong mayor system.
This petition process is new for all of us. I don't think anybody here has been through the process of a petition.
Earlier this month, the commission met to talk about that petition. The people who signed it want to put the mayor in charge of the city versus the city manager. It's similar to how Minneapolis runs its city government.
Our job for a citizen's petition is to pass it on to the city council in one of three ways, either approving it to be submitted as a ordinance or as a something to go on the ballot or with no recommendation at all. That is our only job.
However, at its last meeting, the Charter Commission opted not to send the petition on to the City Council. That decision prompted a group called Citizens for a Full-Time Mayor to file a lawsuit mandating the commission to send it to the City Council. A court hearing on the matter was originally scheduled for Wednesday afternoon.
Commissioner Jerzyk.
Aye.
But at Tuesday night's meeting, the Charter Commission decided to send the petition to the City Council after all, although some had reservations.
It at least begs the question that we should be looking at this, again, not rubber stamping it. I think that there's a huge public policy issue here that could come into conflict with this proposed charter amendment.
Now the issue will be up to the City Council and very likely the voters of Brooklyn Center. In Brooklyn Center, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
In Plymouth, a vote to tear down Four Seasons Mall. One city council member said he's been looking forward to this day since the city bought the property last year. The Plymouth City Council unanimously approved seeking bids for demolition work, which the city plans to do this winter. One reason for the urgency, the city has seen an increase in illegal activity on the property. That includes break-ins and graffiti. The cost to do the demolition is about $1.5 million, which will come out of the city's transit fund reserves. The city hopes to eventually recoup those costs through the sale of the property. The city is also working with St. Paul-based Wellington Management to redevelop the Four Seasons site. Wellington has proposed a 412-unit apartment project. The company says rising construction costs have slowed the process down, with costs increasing about $18 million since it first applied for the project less than a year ago. Golden Valley is the latest city to consider regulations for the sale of THC gummies and beverages. THC is the active ingredient in marijuana. The Minnesota legislature passed a law allowing the sale of THC products starting July 1st, but didn't establish any licensing criteria for them. As a result, cities are scrambling to regulate them. One Golden Valley business manager told city leaders that the customer base for THC edibles is not what you might think.
Yes, there's new customers coming in. And the other thing about these new customers is they're older. This is not kids coming in to get this stuff. It is not the 18 that's trying to buy a 21 plus product. It is 50, 60-year-old retirees that saw that, wow, this is legal now. I'm gonna come in and try it.
Golden Valley held the first reading of a licensing ordinance, and they will review a zoning amendment at a future meeting. Robbinsdale recently passed an emergency moratorium on THC products, and this week, Brooklyn Center followed suit. Groceries, the price of gas, and just about everything else is up over the past year. Those increased costs have people turning to thrift stores. As Sonia Goins reports, a thrift store in Crystal has seen a boon in business.
Just about everyone is pinching their pennies these days. From clothing to household goods, prices are high everywhere, except here at the Bibles for Missions thrift store in Crystal.
We've always kind of gone to thrift stores a lot, but we do it a lot more now because, well, we've always found the value in thrift stores anyway.
Many people come here to stretch their budgets.
I don't think anything I'm wearing right now other than my socks and underwear is is what I bought at a thrift store.
Some customers say the economy has shifted how they shop.
It's changed drastically because you can get good quality stuff for lower prices at a thrift store.
This savvy shopper says he stops by the thrift store at least twice a week.
It's 2 giraffes.
He often gets good deals.
I've got three $385 suits here for $5.99 with the tag still on them.
The thrift store has been in business for 25 years, so they have a loyal customer base. However, the store saw a jump in donations and revenue post-COVID.
So basically 50% in 2 years. Between COVID and the economy and everything that's going on for people, yeah, it's been very much of an increase.
About 300 people come through the doors each day, and many of them are first-time customers.
We do have a lot of people in these recent months who have decided, I want to try thrift stores, and they found us.
The shop is run by volunteers. Store officials say they don't have enough people to extend store hours.
If we could increase staffing by getting more people, we'd be open longer and more people would find the benefit here.
So for the time being, they will try to keep up with demand.
Something about thrifting post-COVID really caught on.
In Crystal, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
Plymouth is getting ready for a big musical act, one who some describe as the modern-day Jimi Hendrix. That's Gary Clark Jr., Friday night's featured performer at this year's Live at the Hilde event. Tickets are still available. Friday's show will be followed by another show on Saturday night at the Hilde, featuring some popular country music acts, headlined by Kelsey Ballerini and the band Perry.
The Minnesota State American Legion Baseball Tournament starts Thursday morning with games in Burnsville, Prior Lake, and Shakopee. Maple Grove is one of the local teams hoping to make another postseason run. It's a team that's used to winning. The Maple Grove Legion baseball team enters the state tournament with an 18-3 record. That comes on the heels of the Crimson High School team going 20-6 and getting the state with many of these same players.
They've been in so many tight games and meaningful games that it's become old hat to them, and they've been down, and they just know that you don't quit, you battle till the end.
Post 172 won all 4 of its games in last week's sub-state tournament, coming from behind to win in 3 of them.
We've been down a lot this year, and we give up 4 runs in the first inning, so what? We'll come back and beat you guys by 10, or however many runs it is. Just the way our attitudes are, we're never down, we're never too high, never too low.
It happened in the section tournament in the regular season. It happened like 3 times in the sub-state for Legion. So I think just this group is just very good at keeping their composure.
Maple Grove is in a pool that includes Rosemont, Rochester, and Hopkins. A team with plenty of experience itself, coming off a Central Plains regional appearance in 2021. To win state, a team could play as many as 7 games in 4 days. Pitching depth, which Maple Grove believes it has, is key.
We've got a lot of top-notch pitching and also a lot of pitching depth. Some teams may not have that, but when you're in the pool play situation, you usually get some of their best pitchers early on. So I expect three tough games early on, and hopefully we can do enough to win at least a couple of them to advance.
Maple Grove plays its first game in pool play Thursday morning at 10 against Rochester. Look for highlights on our website at ccxmedia.org. The Hopkins Legion baseball team is also in the state tournament after winning the Sub-State 4 championship. As Jay Wilcox reports, they're hoping to make another good tournament run.
The Hopkins Flyers American Legion baseball team is soaring into the state tournament. They blazed through the Sub-State 4 tournament without a loss, beating 5 opponents by a combined score of 47-9.
I would say Sub-State, we had some pretty hard teams, but as a team, we ran through them. We hit really well, pitching was really well, and then what I was talking to my coach about was we only had 1 error through 5 games, which is phenomenal, I would say. So those are 3 big parts of it.
It turned into something easier than it probably should have been. But it wasn't easy all the way through. Minnetonka or Excelsior gave us a really good game. A couple of those games were close till we kind of blew it open. And we know what state will be, right? We've got good teams in our pool. We've got good teams in other pools. We know it's going to be harder.
Hopkins is 30-8 overall, and they have a .332 team batting average with 25 home runs. The offense has been consistently good.
We'll hit. We know we'll hit, so we just got to make sure we play good defense and throw strikes behind it.
Obviously, our hitting's probably one of the best in the state, so we should have that covered. And then I would just say pitching. If we continue to throw strikes and our fielders can make plays, then we're really hard to beat.
With many of the same players, Hopkins made a deep playoff run last summer, finishing second in the state tournament and second at the Central Plains Regional. That experience helps.
Yeah, I feel like it totally helps because you just know like what it takes to get to the next tournament. And last year we got to regionals and state, and it was just a fun experience. So we wanted to get back and do it again.
The pieces are in place for Hopkins to contend at this week's state tournament. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Thanks, Jay. And that's all for sports. More CCX News after this.
Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.